Appreciate you joining us here on Talk Erie and the Joel and Natalie Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also on Facebook and on YouTube. And with us, it is the mayor of the city of Erie, Joe Schember. Mayor Schember, great to have you back with us here, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it.
All righty. So again, it is. I gotta get you to weigh in on the election just for a second here,
okay?
Because in the past month, I think you came right after Kamala Harris visited.
Yes.
And we had an onslaught of people on the ground here. Doing the door knocking,
Yes.
doing really retail politics,
Yes.
because Erie was such an important town. What are your thoughts on how the election turned out?
Well, I was disappointed by the results, but I'm not making any prejudgment on what may happen going forward now.
Right.
I still hope we can work together and keep things moving.
I'll make the statement of saying Joe Biden's administration has been pretty good for Erie, PA.
I agree 100%. Yes, I agree 100% with you.
Yeah. Because we are one of those towns that were kind of passed by in the kind of the glory years where the South was building.
Yes.
Big cities like Charlotte and Nashville were getting all the attention.
Yes.
Rust Belt cities like us and Toledo and Dayton ignored, right?
Yeah, but we got a lot of attention in this last election.
Yes, we did.
We had both presidential candidates,
Yeah.
both vice presidential candidates here.
Yeah.
That was really good. Really good.
That definitely was.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, we just kind of navigate through, and you hope that our state representatives and our federal representatives will make sure that they're knocking on the door on behalf of
Yes.
Erie, right?
Yeah, there was also a good meeting between the current president and the new one coming
Yes.
in, which was a 2-hour meeting. It sounded like they were both very pleased with the conversation. That was really good to hear.
There's no doubt about it. All righty, let's zoom in on Erie, PA, and the fifth floor here. You had to present your budget to council. Again, is there a theme here that's coming with this budget, you think?
Well, the big theme is no more tax increase for next year. That's the 6th year in a row now that we have not increased taxes, and we're proud of that, and we hope to keep that going in the future. It depends a lot on what happens going forward as well. But one of the things we've done is we've been showing the 5-year plan since 2019. I'm really proud of that. And our 5 years out from what was the first one has come down over $10 million. It's still $13 million, which is a concern, certainly. And
What has come down, Mayor? What are you talking
it's
about?
the deficit in the budget projected 5 years out.
Oh, okay.
5 years out.
So you're saying that we 5 years ago we had a 23 million
in a deficit.
and now it's down
13.
Okay, so it's come down 10 million. Wow.
Yeah, a little over 10 million. The 10 million is a good number.
Yeah.
Yes.
But over these past 5 years, after the water authority deal came to be, you segregated a bunch of money to pay long-term debt.
Yes.
But you've been also able to use a chunk of money to fill in these structural deficits.
That's right.
But that's coming to an end, right?
That's right. We have about a little over 300,000 left.
After this year, after 2025?
After 2025.
Okay.
And it may be a little bit higher than that because we're not quite sure how this year is going to end up. So there may be, in fact, I think our finance department think there's going to be more moved out be available for future years. But that's still low. So we need to see some increase in people living and working in Erie, and that's what we're trying to do. Because over the last 70 years, since I was a young kid growing up here in Erie, we've lost about 40,000 residents. We had 140,000. Now we have slightly under 100,000, and that certainly had a big impact on us. We're trying to bring that back. I think we're having some success with it. It's not crazy success. In fact, I said I'd like our population to be up by 10,000 people but within at least 7 years. I said that 3 years ago,
right.
So we're only 4 years away from it now. But I'm still saying that and still want to see that happen.
When you're trying to put all these numbers together,
Yes.
the primary question I have is, since we have shrunk in population, we're still spending more each year
Yes.
to operate the city.
Yes.
In fact, this is the largest budget in the history of the city. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, the largest.
So how do we juxtapose that?
Well, prices are still going up. We had a tangle with inflation a couple of years ago, and it's still in there. It's been brought down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But when there's inflation, that means prices go up, and it's expensive. And we've we negotiate the best we can with all 4 of our unions, and I think we've done a relatively good job. But the firefighters just we couldn't come to an agreement on the amount. They wanted like a huge amount. We wanted something in 2.5-3% area, and it ended up that for this year, and this was a year late. So
Right.
This year it was like 5.5% increase. But then it's reasonable in the next 3 years.
Was that
as well.
arbitrated, Mayor, or is that something that your people were able to negotiate?
No, it was
that?
done. It was arbitrated, done by
Okay.
appeal. Yes.
Okay.
And we couldn't come to an agreement, and so that's why it went to arbitration. And we were a little disappointed by the percentage for this year. Of course, it's already implemented and it's in place now. But the future years are reasonable.
Okay. The what's hard to understand is when you think about, let's say you go, and again, the trouble about Erie people is that we have really good memories, right?
For some things, yes.
For some things,
Not everything.
And so we remember, going back 20 years, the Philippi administration, and when Joe Schember inherited that, it was really much the city hall was in a financial crisis, right?
Yes.
And you can say that that Mayor Schember kind of righted the ship, kept us out of Act 47, state running thing, but the cuts were to the bone here, and one of the things that you've had going for you is your financial savvy because you were a banker, but also you had this kitty of money coming from the water sale, which was, I think, a smart thing to do.
Thank you.
But now it's gone, and so you've got some major challenges, in the next 5 years, right? The newspaper's full of the city council weighing in on this conversation. You know,
it won't totally be gone for the next year, till the end of
Right.
next year, not this year.
but it's only 10% of what you're going to be able to. You're going to probably tap in about $3 million this year from it, right?
It's about $4 million actually.
You're going to $4 million.
Yes.
Wow.
We had to. Had no choice just because of
So
the situation.
so just so I understand, there is not $4 million more to cut, or even $2 million to cut, like this year. As far as should we be back to that austerity program that we had to do when back in the late 2000s?
Yeah. Not yet. We don't have to do it yet, and we're hoping not to have to do it. We don't. I can't tell you the future, honestly.
Well, I'm talking about 2025 here.
2025 will be fine. Absolutely.
But why not try to be a little? I'm just asking. Why not try to be a little bit more conservative, and leave some of that money instead of just kind of draining it out to 10% of what's left.
And we're definitely not draining it. The original budget that our finance department received was about $1.4 million higher than the one that we've now sent to City Council. So we weren't satisfied with over a $5 million deficit. So we cut $1.4 million out of it, and I really give our finance department a lot of credit for doing that. And it seemed like reasonable changes they made. And so we're not just accepting everything.
Okay.
We're trying to keep it down, and there's going to be no problems. The end of next year is different. That's something we've got to address at that point. We're hoping, obviously, this year to draw more people and businesses to Erie. We're happy with what's occurred so far, but we need to do more of that and hopefully generate revenue that way.
What? Tell me that equation. Help me with that equation. When you say draw more people, you're saying within the next several months we could move a needle to bring more revenue in to help you make 2026 work?
Yeah, I'm thinking longer than more than a couple months too.
Okay.
I'm thinking all of next year as well.
But how does that work?
How's it work? Well, it's been working fairly successfully. Since 2020, we've added about 2,300 people living in here. I think it's 2021 actually. I apologize. 2021, we've added about 2,500 roughly. That's around.
And have we seen tax revenues go up?
It's I believe it's helped. I haven't looked at that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Our total tax revenue, I know, is down slightly from last year.
It's down
It's
slightly.
down slightly, yeah.
Any idea why?
About 1%. I'm not sure of that. I know that some people don't pay, and then we have to go after them, and there's a process, and that brings in money, but it's in the future. It's not immediate. Our payment percentages are really pretty reasonable and good right now, and we want to obviously keep that going. And we got to have more people living and working here.
The other thing that that is a long-term thing is you'll start getting some of that money of the people that are on LRTA from the beginning. 2019 is when LRTA kicked in, right?
Right, yes.
So, but we're only halfway through,
That's
right?
That's right. And that's continuing now as well. LRTA is continuing, and so that'll continue. And it'll, assuming I get reelected next year, it'll all kind of kick in after I'm gone. But it's going to help the city. And I'm trying to do things that are long term, not things that are short term.
I guess I'm just because we'll talk about the fees after the break, but I'm trying to wrestle with, what could be that trigger that would turn on a spigot on tax revenues more than what you're seeing on a trend line right now.
Yeah, the key is getting more people living and working.
But now that's narrowed down. Now you don't have that kitty to draw from in 2026, right? You're going to have 300,000 left in the water deal.
Well, that's what we have now. It could be higher than that.
It could. Let's say it's even a 500,000.
Okay.
But that's nowhere near 4 million.
No, it's not. You're right. Yes, and we're not expecting any huge increases, but there will be increases we have to deal with, definitely.
We're talking to Mayor Joe Schember. He's with us here. Again, it's a budget talk. We're getting into the nitty-gritty. We'll talk about some of the fees as well as some of the big things that may be on the city's plate that you got to wrestle with. Thanks for tuning in to Talk Erie. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show here on this Friday. It's our monthly meeting with the mayor. If you want to ask a question, 814-679-1080. Mayor, I did get a text here.
Okay.
Just an FYI, the city needs to streamline the building permitting for new construction, remodeling, perhaps being able to enter the building and speak with people at their own offices instead of waiting in the lobby or playing phone tag. Yeah, how accessible are the permit folks? And who does permitting? Is that planning?
Yes, we have a large group of people. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
We have a large group of people who do that, and
Okay.
I think they're pretty responsive. I've started to meet with them once a month. They give their reports on what they're doing, who they're talking to, what they've accomplished. And
Because that would be part and parcel with what you're saying is we need more people in here.
Yes.
If they can get in here faster,
Yes.
then your revenue will follow, correct?
That's right. And another problem we have in Erie is the number of homes that are not fit for anybody to live in.
right,
And sometimes we find people living in them and try to get them out. But in the last 2 years now, we've destroyed 100 homes, which it used to be about 20 a month back when I first started. But we've increased that, and I'm very proud that we're doing that as well.
We had just to follow up on our last month's conversation. We had a pretty significant conversation about blight and about the code enforcement. Any movement there? Have you had any chats about all that?
Yeah, I think we are making progress with that, trying to stay focused on it and have people reporting to me about it. And I can ask them questions and try to push forward a little bit if possible. We're definitely working hard trying to implement that and make it better going forward.
On a positive note, we can't not forget about what Captain Hagan is doing on 6th Street and Jeff Kidder. I mean, you talk about a long-term solution to having affordable market rate housing right in the city of Erie.
Yeah, and
for what those guys are doing.
They're regenerating what was once the best neighborhood in Erie, and they're regenerating it. That's great.
It's pretty remarkable.
You're right.
All right, let's get back to the budget here, Mayor.
Yes.
So, part and parcel, of this budget is you're going to raise fees. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's two fees that we're raising. One is the sewer fee and one is the refuse fee. And the sewer fee will go up $7.67 per quarter. It's billed quarterly. And the refuse fee will go up $5.80 per quarter. So that's an annual increase of the two put together of $53.88 more for the entire year.
Okay.
That's the amount. And people pay 1/4 of that per quarter.
Right.
And most people, if they're on Social Security, they've probably gotten a bigger increase, or will be getting a bigger increase than that next year. I think it's up like 2.5% maybe. I think I heard that. And so it's very minimal in terms of the impact on the people living and working in Erie.
Again, it's not a lot of money, but
Yes.
one of the things that I'll just say bothers me is that whether you lived at 4th and Seminole, or 4th and Cherokee, I should say, or 4th and Wallace, you're going to pay that $53.88 more this year.
That's correct. Yeah, if you own a home.
So
Yeah,
so if your home is worth $450,000 in Cherokee or $40,000 on Wallace, it's the same amount of money. How is that not regressive?
I guess I don't find it regressive because it's much lower than raising taxes, and it's these people they do own a home, whether it's $40,000 or $250,000 or whatever.
Right.
They still have owned a home, and I know a lot of people own a home a lot longer than they probably should. They pay minimal payments and just keep that, but it really helps too if you can get your home paid off. You don't have a mortgage payment, and then you have just your other payments to make.
Yeah, so, but if we were, let's say we were raising, a $500,000, that $500,000 goes, that's going to hit, that would be a bigger impact on the 4th and Cherokee home than it would be on the 4th and Wallace home. You know what I mean?
What do you mean
a percent, if your percentage is higher on a tax increase, if a house is worth $40,000 at 4th and Wallace, and you're raising, the tax ends up being, I don't know, $100, it's going to be, $400 on the west side, wouldn't it be? And if you're talking about percentages, millage increases based on a home's assessed value.
Yeah. I don't think it's based on that when you increase sewer and refuse.
No, I'm talking about if instead of doing fees, going ahead and doing a tax increase. I know it's good to say we're not increasing taxes, but after 4 years or 5 years of this, where we've had a fee increase every year, it starts adding up to we're increasing taxes.
But I think there's a good chance that the person with a home only worth 40 or 50,000, if we take from their taxes, they're going to pay more than they do.
Okay, well, you'd have to watch that.
It's $53 a year.
Yeah,
I mean, it's rare that we raise taxes only $53 a year.
Right,
for people.
Okay. The do you get a sense that council's going to go for this, or do you have a situation where you're going to probably have to cut some more?
It's a little. I'm unsure, to be very honest. We've only met with them once. We met with them last night, and it was an hour meeting that went for an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
It was, and I had to get to another meeting, which I was late for after that one. But it was, it was a good conversation. There was nothing. We talked about, probably about 1/10 of the entire budget, but we got good feedback, and there were some suggestions made, and I think we're going to implement them, and we can do that. They asked us to raise some things, lower some things, that sort of thing, and we appreciate that, and we'll continue to work with them to move it forward.
All right, I've got just about a minute. Do you plan on having more like study sessions with council, or have all of the departments gone in front of council, or has that already happened?
No. We've only had one department in front of them so far. That was last night.
Yeah.
I think next week we have 2 meetings, Tuesday and Thursday. The next week, because it's the holiday week, there's nothing. But then we have, I think it's 3 more weeks with 2 meetings every day.
Is this something that's being streamed on TV? Is this?
Yes.
Are these public hearings?
Yeah,
okay.
I know people that have listened to it. They mentioned it to me.
Sure.
Yes.
So that's something I would encourage folks, because I think it's one of the most fun YouTube channels. It's the city of Erie, right? I mean,
join us. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, especially Citizens to Be Heard. That is quite the entertainment.
Yes, it is. Yes.
I'm not teasing. I really am not. All right. Well, when we come back, I want to talk about personnel and where the city is at, because I'm just wondering if there are. Are we having trouble recruiting? Are there, what about big projects? What about equipment? Okay. What about, roads? I mean, we've got some streets that are doozies out there, and how do we pay for all that? You are tuned to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Our monthly meeting with the mayor will continue after news at the bottom of the hour right here at 105.9 WZTE. Appreciate you being with us here on a Friday. It's the Joel Natale Show on Talk Erie Live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. It's our monthly meeting with the mayor. We're getting down to the numbers. It's the budget time at City Hall. If you have a question, 814-679-1080, you can call or text that line. And Mayor, we did get a text. Joel, please ask the mayor about our deplorable, embarrassing streets, especially State Street, the main street in Erie. Thank you. I don't know what part of state that they're talking about, but yeah, we do have some rough streets. So how are streets paid for these days? Because at one point they used to be put on a bond. We don't do that anymore, right?
No, we don't. I don't believe in that at all. We do spend a couple $1 million every year fixing streets. It's part of the budget. And I'm surprised that we've made one thing we do is before the spring, early in the year, our department goes around and surveys all the streets and see what are the worst ones that we need the most of, and those are the ones we do. And there have been a lot of streets repaved really well, and somebody might live near one that hasn't been repaved, and I could appreciate that, and they certainly call us and tell us about it, because we'll be repaving more next year as well. We always try to take the worst streets in Erie, no matter where they are, fix them up, make them better, and then the next year we do the same thing again.
What's the best way to make that contact to City Hall? Is that Citizen Response Center, or
that is probably the best way.
So how do you do that again?
That's 870-1111.
Okay.
Just call that number, and he'll get maybe 100 calls a week or so usually. I think last week he only had about 60 calls. Yeah. But call that number, describe the problem. He'll get the information to the right people, the people that'll be making the decision on what we should do next year, early next year.
And if you'd rather just type it in, if you're a little worried about talking to somebody, you can also do that on an online form. I've got a large item pickup this week, and I just love that system. Okay. I tell you what, this new website, and I know you're working on another website, yes. I think.
Yes. But
this citizens response part of that is just brilliant. I love how that all works.
Thank you. Yeah, people can certainly use that as well. Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about so to be sure, to get paving done, it is a situation where it's coming out of the budget. I would think that with the mildness of the last two winters, have you been able to carry over some public works money that way?
Absolutely, that's been a big help. We're not spending as much, especially on salts that we have to put out.
Yeah, but the OT too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very, very helpful that we have a warm winter. I'm hoping we have another warm winter. This year in January, I think we had 6 days below 32, which is pretty incredible crazy, for our area. If you grew up here and you're used to what I'm used to.
Right.
But I think we've definitely warmed up, and we're going to stay warmer. I don't know if that's good long term, but it certainly makes the winters a lot easier. We only had 30 inches of snow last winter.
Wow.
So, yes.
Wow. What are some of the other kind of the big items that are embedded in this budget that you guys are talking about?
Trying to think, because we're just actually starting to talk.
Yeah.
We did have the meeting last night. I don't know if there's anything significant. They brought up some. The city council brought up some minor changes in some of the and talked it through, and we either agreed or didn't agree to do it, and move forward from there. So, but it was all good.
I wanted to ask you about personnel because, again, when you're tight, oftentimes you could say, okay, we've got this position open, but maybe we're not going to fill it. Where are we at? Like, how many positions are open at City Hall right now, and how many absolutely need to be filled?
I think we have 6 or 7 open right now.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, not a lot, and we think they all need to be filled, although it may take a few months to do it.
Right.
And obviously, we save money during that period of time as well, which is good. That helps us.
So personnel, you feel is pretty right sized. Do you think?
I think it's pretty good. It is. I think anybody in Erie that hires employees, I think knows it's hard hiring people right now to find qualified people that are good in this area, because so many people like my age are retiring, and they're leaving the workforce, and there's just not as many good people available as there used to be.
Yeah. Again, it used to be if you can get a job at the city, you're golden, right? I mean,
absolutely.
it's different. I did notice that in Kevin Flowers' reporting, he's talking to the city council folks, and there is this concern about the 5-year forecast. And again, you've been mentioning that you're running for reelection. You definitely hope to win. Is that just going to be a grind for you to try to make the numbers work going into the late 2020s here?
It doesn't seem like that to me.
Okay.
Maybe I'm naive or something, but I've had very high concerns I've been addressing. And I think normally we get through it and we move forward. And the fact that our future deficits are reduced by over $10 million, I think that's a step in the right direction. It's not getting us all the way to where we need to go, but it's definitely been a big step in the right direction. And I want to keep doing that sort of thing to move Erie forward.
I know Bruce Katz, the urbanist, has talked about people have to, cities have to make their own way.
Yeah.
But, when the school district got in trouble, there was money from the state that came to rescue the school district. Again, basic education is a part and parcel of what a state does with districts here. What about though third class cities like Erie, like Scranton, Corey, Sharon or whatever? Should we be requesting more help from the state to kind of get us through in situations like this?
I'll tell you right now, for the last few years, we're really getting a lot of help. We've had over $100 million in grants, not things we have to pay back, but grants to get things done. I think the police submitted this year about $6 million for stuff they want to get done. And again, they're good things, and they're not costing us any money out of the budget. We get it all that way. We don't get approved for everything, but right now we have a pretty high percentage of approvals. I think we're working on a lot of things right now to get submitted. I think we've had about 60 million submitted already this year.
Wow. And
I think we have to do about 12 or 13 more before the end of this month. So my team is really working hard on that, doing a good job. And I'm very proud of the way what we submit. I don't have much to do with it, to be very honest.
Sure.
My team does that. Mm-hmm. But they put things together and they have everything they need to get approved. And not every one of them gets approved, but the vast majority do. We're really proud of that.
The question is, I know with the police, for example, they got that I don't know, what's it, the Eagle Grant about a year and a half ago. I mean, that was a big deal.
Yes.
And it really, the chief can point to the arrests and the fought crime and the reduction in crime because of that initiative. So that's a programmatic payment.
Yes.
And then, of course, you got equipment that gets paid for. I think did they just get a new SWAT car or something like that?
They did, yes.
New SWAT truck,
huge.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, so they're getting equipment paid. It's the nuts and bolts of keeping the train on the tracks and going that seems to be I wouldn't say in jeopardy, but boy, it's challenged, isn't it?
I guess I don't feel that way.
Okay. I'm just looking at this concept of, we've got this financial cliff that's being forecast in your 5-year plan of like, you're down to $13 million, but you still got a $13 million deficit.
Yeah.
5 years out.
Yeah, but down from $23 million 5 years ago. So
no doubt.
We're moving it in the right direction, and I want to keep doing that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, I'm sure of that, but we're going to do everything we can to get through that.
What else should the public know, to the taxpayers know about these next few weeks here? What you're going to be working on and what might be coming up here?
Yeah, we've got a lot of meetings with City Council, and those will be on TV. You can also come here and watch them if you want to our office. So there'll be 2 meetings next week. The following week is the week of Thanksgiving, so there'll be no meetings that week. But then I think for the next 3 weeks we're meeting twice, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's always Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30. Encourage anybody to watch, and if you have any input on what you hear and see, let me know. If you think we should do something differently, I'm always open to hearing that as well.
Let me totally go in a different direction here. We had a ribbon cutting of the new county's Community Resilience Center.
Yes.
So the Overflow Homeless Shelter is now going to be at the pre-release center. What do you think that's going to do to help kind of this homeless crisis that we have in the city, because again, I'm not sure I'm seeing a ton of it, but we still have little pockets here and there, right?
Absolutely. I think we have about 150 people in the area, maybe in the high 140s now, but who don't have a home or any place they can live. And so they go to places they can sleep overnight, but then they're kicked out relatively early in the morning, and they're on the street for the day until that evening when they can go back in.
Right.
That's not the best way of living. And you have to carry stuff around with you that you want to keep with you, which I can't imagine carrying everything around that I have. I'd never be able to do it. It's incredible. But we'll definitely keep working on that, and hopefully we're moving forward with the help of Hammond's Board of Trustees to come up with a new place where we can put in about 50 people who don't have to leave it in the morning. There'll be places they live, and that'll give them time and a location, and there'll be people that work in these that help them with things too to get moving.
Kind of the wraparound services.
Absolutely. And we have other homes that are smaller than that they've already started. I think they've got about 25 people into those sorts of homes now where they can live. They live their life, so they don't have to leave, and there's no fee they have to pay to get through that.
That's awesome.
Yes.
The other, it's not really related, but kind of is the panhandling thing. This is my take. I might be totally washed up on this, Mayor, but I feel like there's actually like a business going on where people are employed to panhandle and send money up the food chain or whatever. I mean, it's in the weirdest places. 26th and Sass. That doesn't strike me as a very busy corner, other than when shift changes at St. Vincent or something like that. I mean, are you hearing anything from law enforcement or from citizens complaining about all the signs? Help me out or whatever.
And I'm not only hearing about it, I'm seeing it myself.
You're seeing yourself, yeah.
I drive up I-79 to go up to the upper Peach Street area to shop on the weekends. My wife and I almost always see a guy there with a sign trying to get money from the cars that are parked, and there's a lot of cars parked waiting to get off I-79. But it seems to, I never do anything with it. I never rolled down my window or even talked to them. And I see anybody else doing it, but I think those people may be being paid to do that.
I think so too,
yes,
Mayor.
I think you're right. Yes.
It just seems like it's like a business or something like that.
Absolutely. Yes.
You do walk up and down State Street. Yes. We've got pockets here even along this corridor, right? I wouldn't say that it's a lot of panhandling, but a lot of loitering.
Yes.
And again, I'm not sure any laws are being broken or whatever, but there is we want to be able to help people out.
Yes. That's reasonable.
I do know that sometimes the law enforcement will come in and the cops will say, hey, keep moving along, right?
Usually if they're bothering somebody, we get a complaint about it or that sort of thing.
That's how that works.
But I do see a lot of those people. A lot of them ask me for money. I rarely give any, but occasionally I'll give something.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. And these people will be the ones really helped once we get that new place built where they can live, where they just can't sleep and leave, where they can live. That's going to make it much better.
As far as economic development and things, again, we have the LRTA. It still seems to be a pretty pretty powerful thing for you.
Yes.
And we haven't talked about CRIS yet this month. I thought, isn't the application due this month
for CRIS? Yes, I believe it.
Do we know who's on that?
Chris Groner is heading it up for us, and I know he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that is right now, though, but you're right. It's due, and hopefully that money is going to come in, and that will help us a lot.
Yeah, they're talking that's another $10 million. Now there's your situation that's a similarity to the school district of if you can get that CRIS money coming back, $10 million a year or more, that would be remarkable.
And with Erie Insurance, what they're planning to do once that's approved, we expect the first year we won't get anything because they got to know where we are, and then the next year, based on the improvement, and I'm hoping that $10 million comes, and that will go right back into the neighborhoods that we designate as part of the CRIS, and it'll be developing some of our neighborhoods that can offer more merchant things, and they get the support of moving forward with that.
All right, one last question for the mayor here on a Friday. Will you be riding in the trolley with Santa and Mrs. Claus on Downtown Delights?
No, but I'll meet them at Perry Square when they get there and shake their hands.
Okay, you're not riding in the sled?
I might.
There's usually some kind of vehicle, right?
Yeah, if I'm
I can't
invited,
remember if it was the,
I think
the trolley.
You might be right. I don't think I'm usually with them, although occasionally I have been.
I've seen you.
You're right.
Come
You're
downstairs.
right. Yes, very good.
Maybe we'll get some snow this time.
That could be. Do I have time to say something about Lurda real
please
quickly?
do. Yeah.
So far, up to this date, we've had 629 payments of over $341 million. Wow. So 629 payments of over $341 million. Commercial side is the highest side. We've got 210 of the payments, which is actually only a third of the payments, but that's over about $287 million in that. And on the residential side, we've had 419 payments for $54 million and about $500,000.
So we probably should remind people that this is out there. So
absolutely.
If you want a new garage, or if you're going to do an add-on,
yes.
or
and you can see we've had 419 residential, only 210 commercial. The commercial
right.
ones are much bigger,
right?
But we've got more residential people taking advantage of it. And I encourage everybody to take advantage of this, please.
Yeah. We'll see you at the tree lighting, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time here. Mayor Joe Schember here on Talk Erie for his monthly meeting, and good luck with the budget talks.
Thank you much.